chapter 8 is called Architect a Collaborative and Supportive Environment. And, I wrote this. This is more about the physical space that a leader can use, and a leader can, make their own in terms of working with the team and so on. And, this was, obviously COVID changed all of this, but I decided to go ahead and stick with the physical space piece because we were so fresh into COVID. Didn't really want to try to weigh in on that at that point because I thought I could look pretty foolish, 10 years down the road if I tried to sort of predict how the whole virtual world would work and so on. But anyway, so I just kind of stuck to my knitting around just the physical space piece. And I think the thing that's important to understand as a leader, when you're leading a team, that the physical space has impact on people when they show up, and that impact is a direct reflection of you and the team, right? And so you have to be very deliberate and try to work through the physical space in a way that it's having the impact on you, your team, and you as best you can. And people show up, and I think there's environments that cause dread and fear, and then there's environments that are enthusiastic and bring energy and so on. And so really being deliberate about that. And I think the other thing that I think is important in from a physical space perspective is that I think you should always be tweaking and always be changing and always trying to improve and making it a collaborative process with the team about what the team would like to see and so on. Like, I have a friend of mine that runs a company. It's like over 70 years old, and I've been going to meetings at his office for 13 years now, and I don't think they've changed one thing. At 13, I don't think they've changed a thing. I mean, I think it's the same chairs, same art, same table, same, and so, but we've gone through I think we've gone through a pretty interesting evolution in terms of trying to work with our physical space. And when we started out very, very traditional, with a waiting area with a big desk and, offices and, a few meeting room or a big meeting room and some conference rooms. And our first iteration into doing something different was when we brought in the cafe, and we made the cafe available to everyone. And, one of the things that we did with that cafe is we left it open 24/7. And anyone that worked in the organization was willing or was able to bring in friends and family and make drinks. And we never charged anybody anything for that. That was just a nice benefit to working in the organization. And I tell people, other leaders, that, and they're like, that's like crazy. I'm like, yeah, but in the 18 years that we did it, I can't recall one time anyone ever abusing it. Right. And so it's really been, I think that's been an interesting, very healthy, we wanted to facilitate community, allow people to use, we had people use it for baby showers and, book clubs and all kinds of different things. And I remember people referring to it as Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Here you are in this really traditional sort of office building, and then you walk through this door and boom, there's a cafe up on the third floor. Right. So that was a fun thing to do. We also went through this phase of like video games and foosball and bean bags and just trying to make the environment super fun. We used to have mandatory fun time. Dang it. In our meetings, but that ended up rubbing the wrong way ish, at least at that point in our development of our company, because here we were trying to make it super fun and have all these games and have these fun times, and then the culture was actually pretty unhealthy at that time. So there's this huge disconnect between that approach and what was actually happening. And then we went through the phase where Bob and I decided to wall ourselves off, and we built that like apartment thing, right? Where somehow we thought that was a really good idea. That lasted about maybe 18 months, and we realized it was kind of foolish. And then we went into our final phase right pre-COVID, which, I call it in the book, Welcome to 2040, which was, we were preparing at that point to go into a virtual environment, meaning we didn't have designated spaces that we would go and sit in the office. It was meant to be very communal. People would come in, sit down wherever they wanted. We were in the midst of iterating on that and bringing in feedback from people and trying to improve it. But my point in telling you that whole sort of laundry list of stuff is that the physical environment has been constantly in a state of change, and hopefully we think sort of trying to improve it over time. And I think that's an important part of your physical environment. I also think that we should be better about bringing artistry and creativity into our spaces and trying to do more interesting things. And you'll note, like when we did our last iteration, we have the really cool sort of living room areas. We have an area for standing desks. We have the hanging swing. We have the doggy area. Anyway, just constantly trying to be creative with the space and have positive impact on the team. I also think that I think we could be doing a better job, and I advocate for making the space a sort of beacon and or advertisement, for lack of a better term, of your purpose and of your vision and what you're trying to do, so that when people are in the space, they can't help but be impacted by that. So I think the overall point of the chapter 8, is that I think leaders should try to be more intentional with their space and get feedback and work with members of the team to figure out what we should be doing to make it more inspirational, more comfortable, and just frankly a better environment to show up for work. So that's chapter 8, and very sort of nuts and boltsy chapter, but I still think that environment's very, very important. So thank you.